that, we can see who's asking the question. Just maybe wave or let us know that you're there so that we can catch you. And then type in your name and question in the chat so then we can call on you, either Amit or I. With that said, I'm going to start. We've all watched this amazing film, Thappad, that you have brought to us. And I'm going to say it gives me great pleasure today to welcome all three of you to our session.
Thank you.
I'm going to start. I'm going to start first with Anubhav Sinha, the director. I want to tell the audience how gracious Anubhav was to come on and say, "Yeah, I'll do it," and to bring on his cast. So I'm so grateful to you for it, because I understand how busy you are as well as the others. Before making Thappad, which released in India in February 28, and I was in India at that time. Anubhav Sinha has also made Article 15 on the caste divide and Mulk on religious polarization in 2018. 3 significant films back to back. And he has made several others before. But I think these 3 films on religion, caste, and gender, each one more successful than the other, Anubhav, really set you apart as a director and as a filmmaker of substance. I think choosing those very troubling social issues that most of us mull, and you made us, the audience, begin to after watch the films, your films. You made us question our intentions. You also made us question our inaction. And so I think, especially this last film, I know on domestic violence and on male entitlement, really got Indian women thinking about, how they react to situations, how they are comfortable, see themselves comfortable in situations that really they should not be comfortable in. And I think everyone I met when I was in Bangalore, as well as over here, said, hey, this is a must-see film. So my question to you, Anubhav, thank you first for making these strong films, and I hope you continue to do so. You're making a change, even if you do not realize it. You are indeed making a change. How difficult was it for you to envision who you wanted to choose in these roles? And how did you pick Taapsee and Pavail?
Taapsee was, first of all, thank you for such kind words for the film,
it was amazing.
For the team. Thank you so much. Taapsee has her way of snatching the scripts away from me. So whether it was Mulk or it was Thappad, she just took it away from me and she said, I'm doing it, you can't do it with anyone else. And the same thing happened with Mulk. So she was to come on board the first person. And I think Pavail was the last person. Pavail actually I met on set in person. So the day I cast him, he was leaving the same, I saw his audition. Yeah. And I wanted to speak to him, and the same night he was leaving for London to shoot for Kashyap, Anurag Kashyap, Ghost Stories. So I never met him, and thankfully Kashyap knew him well. So Kashyap had read my script, he knew the film, and I asked him, I said, is it a good guy to cast? And he said, yeah, he's wonderful. So I cast him, and then he came straight on set. When I had finished shooting, like Taapsee, like what, 10 days or so? We had shot, or maybe 4 or 5 days?
No, 4 or 5 days. 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days we had shot when he showed up there, and I saw him in flesh and blood. And then we created his look and decided that he was not going to shave and stuff like that. And the rest of the cast, actually, most of the times I end up casting friends. And thankfully, the casting director, Nandini, was also throwing names at me, which of people who I knew for long, except for just a very few, really. And also I've been around for very long now, old man. So I know them all. So then they took the script, and some people I conned because they had small parts, like Dia I had to con. Dia did not con, Dia I ordered. I said, you have to do it. It was a very small part. So she said, okay. So she said, okay, without having read the script. Tanvi ji, I didn't know at all, but that was a small part when it was written. But after Tanvi ji said, I have to do this part, I have to be in this movie, then, more ideas came up, and her part increased a bit after she was cast. So it was pretty much like one quite nepotist in nature, the casting, the way the casting happened. It was all friends and neighbors and people who said nice things to me were cast.
I'll be nice to you now. Well, I was just thinking, your films, they have a quality of independent films in terms of the topics that you choose, the way you deal with it, the way you deal with the scenes, and yet you make that crossover into Bollywood without being, without the frivolity of Bollywood or the garishness or the song and dance. How difficult was this to do?
This has been a fight. This has been a struggle for me to make these movies mainstream. So I'm not the first person who's made a movie about I don't really love the term empowering women. That makes me feel entitled and privileged. But about women, strong women, there have been hundreds of films. But this is probably also a time when, similarly, there have been movies on caste privileges, and there have been movies on religion privileges in the country. But this is the first time. I mean, not the first time, but yeah, I had this struggle. I wanted these movies to be mainstream. I wanted these movies to make money at the box office. I was not going to be happy with the number of stars that the critics will give to me. So this is also a good time for these films to be successful at the box office. And also I must have done something right, because I came from that, quintessential Bollywood recipe background. So maybe I subliminally had acquired something that was going to help these movies cross over to mainstream. And I'm not aware of that. And then honestly, I don't even want to know, because, when you know the anatomy of it, yeah, then you get corrupted. So I'm right now
in a happy
trying
place.
to be as honest, as honest to my movie as possible. And the rest of it will take care of itself, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I hope so too. Tell us a little about some of the difficulties or the challenges that you had in shaping this film. Because surely one thing is you had to get into the psyche of Amrita in the film, and also the psyche of Pavail in the film. What were some of the challenges that you had just dealing with the cast that you had and being able to convey what you really wanted to say out?
The biggest challenge was a writing challenge. I'll tell you why. Because the film was about nothing. Hitting your wife is perceived nothing in our society. Like, you hit your wife sometimes, and she deals with it. That's her problem. That's how we are brought up. That's how we have, and that's why I was making this film. So how to not over dramatize it, to make it a story of someone else. I wanted it to be as close to you as possible. I wanted to cut really close to the bone, and at the same time, I did not want it to be melodramatic. So that was a big challenge. The second big challenge in writing was that I was hoping that I would be able to deal with a lot of women. Otherwise, so suppose I did a story about a lower middle class wife who got hit. So then it's very easy to say that, this happens in lower middle class or in a rural area. So you say it happens in rural areas. I wanted to deal with middle class, upper middle class, lower class, everyone.
Right.
So that was a good crack that I think we got, me and Brunmai got as writers, where we could deal with a lot of women in a lot of homes. The third big challenge was, so in terms of characterizing Taapsee, Amrita was not a big challenge because she was a good woman who was happy being a housewife, and that was a choice she made. I also didn't want to see being a housewife, the choice of being a housewife as a bad choice or the last choice. There can be women who can choose to be happy homemakers. So I didn't want to look down upon that. That was a bit of a challenge, but not much. The biggest challenge was with Pavail's character. You know, if I had made him a bad guy, then, you know, I wanted every man watching the film to at some point feel that, oh, it's me. Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
That was the biggest challenge, and that is probably the biggest success of the writing, the director, and the actor. That you cannot reject him as someone else. Some shade of him, some part of him is you. And we are all complicit. We are all guilty. All men are guilty of either inflicting it upon a woman or women, or having been just a silent, quiet, dormant witness to it. I wanted all of us to feel complicit about it, and that was the biggest challenge. And I'm so thankful to Pavail for having done it so beautifully. It's a very he's played the tricky part. It's just not easy to go ahead and appreciate his effort, because that's the beauty of his performance. That you don't feel it's a beautiful performance. I keep saying this about women, that a beautiful woman should never know she's beautiful. Then she becomes more beautiful. And that's what is good about a good performance, that if you're not aware that this performance was great, then it was a great performance.
Absolutely.
So yeah, these were the big challenges.
And I really appreciate and love the way you layered your characters. Like you said, with the women, you had the help in the house, and then the same thing happening to the help in the house at a different scale. But also with the men, the Taapsee's father, and what a sweet man he was, and yet there are subtle things that men do that give signals to women, to put aside their ambitions or to put aside their self-worth. And I thought you did that extremely well in his character as well. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was we wrote it. He was a very sweet guy. And for the longest time, for the 16th and 17th draft, I was very unhappy about the fact that somebody was so sweet, because none of us is sweet. We have something about us that we need to look into.
Right.
And I think just a few weeks before the shoot, I hit upon this idea that actually comes from a lady I know who was a wonderful singer when she was 13. And now she's out of tune. And now she thinks my cousin is a big director, and he can probably get me an opportunity to sing somewhere. And now she doesn't know that she's out of tune. And sometimes I tell her, she sends me some of her samples, and it's heartbreaking to tell her that, darling, you're not in tune anymore. And so it came from there. A lot of women, most women, invest in the success of their men, and they start seeing their success, the man's success, as their own success. That's the biggest investment a woman makes, and we don't even appreciate it. We forget to ask her if she wanted to do something. And that was one big achievement. A lot of my friends told me that after watching the film, they went back and they asked their wives if you want to do something, and something changed about them, which was a fantastic thing to hear.
Oh wow! In fact, it is strong men who really allow, or not allow, but really welcome women in positions of power within their households, be it through jobs or businesses or otherwise. Thank you, Anubhav. That really shed some light
Thank
on
you.
how you were thinking about this. My next question, I want to talk to Taapsee a little bit. Taapsee, I want to say thank you. It's lovely that you could join us. It means a lot for us to hear from you, being protagonist of the film. And, you're a true Bollywood star. Not,
Are you?
yes, one of the most celebrated actors. I'll tell you why.
Honey,
Because you have shown such prowess in acting. Over the last, you'd made 4 films or 5 films last year, I believe. And in each one, you came across so strongly in your acting that we walked away, believing in you, believing that was indeed Taapsee. So, question for you, Taapsee, is who is the real Taapsee, and what is she like? Because even with this film, I walked away, with Amrita as Taapsee, and I think that's what you want to do, and that's what you do in each of your films. Thank you for giving us some great films to watch, and thank you for being such a strong and powerful person. Tell me, who's the real Taapsee?
Thank you so much for all these wonderful compliments, first of all. I'm happy that you walked away with a very strong image of all the characters that I've tried to perform on screen. Amrita, though, was first of its kind for my filmography, honestly. It was kind of a biggest challenge for both me and Anubhav sir to rip that image of Taapsee that came with her, that she's this so-called firebrand who's going to just give it back, and most of the times when this people knew that I was doing Thappad, they were like, who are you hitting this time? And I'm like, no, I'm not the one hitting, I'm getting hit. so it was pretty difficult for people to believe that, really, like, for the longest time they felt that I'm going to be hitting someone in the film, or hitting back, if at all. But I'm happy that they were convinced of what Amrita was and how she dealt with, and they actually forgot about how I am in real. Because yes, had it been probably in real life, I mean, Amrita had a lot of patience. I don't have that kind of patience that Amrita has. So it was a huge challenge for me to convince my audience that I am that submissive, patient, and housewife, and so white and so nice most of the times, which is not really me. I am a very black and white person in real life. Honestly, it's not a very difficult thing to know and understand me. Everyone, I mean, Anubhav sir knows me for quite a few years now. I think it's very easy to understand and know how I am, who I am, and how I am. And most of these characters that I've done lately, they have a streak of my personal life in a certain way. Like in Amrita, the fact that yes, when I know that I think that something is right and I want it, I am stubborn about getting it, and that's how I got the films. Anubhav sir is mentioning that I got that. I am very stubborn about getting what I feel is right and I want. That's probably one thing that connected me and Amrita. That's about it. Other than that, I don't think I really related personally. But yes, most of those characters, that's how I build upon them. I just connect a personal thread and then I build over it to portray that character. And yeah, I'm glad that people are. I think the biggest victory for me was that none of them kind of looked similar to the other, and the fact that people took me back home, because that's been one of the criteria for me to choose my films. I don't want them to forget me when they walk out of the theater. I want them to take me back home, and that's how it's been happening since last couple of films, especially with Thappad. I think there's not been a single day since the release date that I haven't received a message, a mail, or in a post on somewhere on social media talking about how it has truly moved them, touched them, and changed something in them from people in my personal life to people I don't know at all. I have received some countless messages and mails and stories from people. So I think very few actors enjoy this privilege of reaching so deep in the audience's heart. And I think I'm one of those few lucky ones who probably ended up doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think you made what you think and say. We don't act, you made us realize about our own inactions. And I think that came through very well. It was really, really powerful.
Thank
Um,
you.
Thinking back between about your relationship with the director, because between a director and an actor, there's always this symbiotic relationship, right? What did you admire most about director Anubhav Sinha that helped you in this role?
The fact that we knew each other for a few years since, like actually before Mulk, we were trying to work together. Like I really wanted him to cast me in something that he's gonna do, and that time he didn't take that turn that he has taken. I mean, before Mulk, people thought that he'll only make those big commercial Bollywoodish movies, and even I was taken by surprise when he made me read Mulk's script in his office. So it was in front of me that version 2.0 was like a big surprise to me as well, sitting there and seeing, okay, this is something that I never expected coming out of him, having seen the kind of films that he's made before. So from then until now, I think known each other for a few years, which makes it very easy to communicate even without saying much at times. I love to read his scripts. I mean, I've always been very vocal about the fact that he's one of the best writers we have in the industry today. I'm a huge fan of his dialogue writing. I think I mean, the dialogues in Mulk and in Thappad, I think they should go down in history of Bollywood. I feel the kind of dialogues that he's written.
The class,
Uh,
yeah.
so, and the motivation you get, honestly, I didn't need much of motivation or, the prep, so to say, after reading that script, because it's just so clear on paper. The
Mhm,
kind of stuff that he has written, it
mhm.
just automatically ignites something in you that you want to go and perform. I remember even in Mulk, when I read that script, that whole summation that Aarti Mohammed had to present in court, that I was preparing without even him asking me or me telling him. I was preparing for that in my head every single day since the time I started shooting for Mulk, because that was just the biggest driving force. And I think that's what he does. His words on paper are so strong that any actor would get really excited about performing. And then when you get to shoot, then it just keeps there are a lot of small nuances that just probably might have not been there on paper, but he ends up just adding it there and never ever performs and tells what to do exactly. We'll just give you a situation and throw you in it to perform. I'm not very good with mimicking people or imitating people, so I find it very awkward when a few directors end up performing to tell how you should do, because I am very bad mimicry artist. So he doesn't do that. So he just lets you be, and sometimes actually throws it at you like, just do, you tell me how you're going to do it, or you tell me how do you visualize it, which actually makes the actor's mind work. And then
Yeah.
you automatically are more involved in the scene when you feel that the onus is on you. So basically he gives you the responsibility, makes you feel like you have the sense of responsibility uh, to hold the scene, to drive it through. So once you feel that responsibility, I think I work really well under pressure. I like to get that pressure and responsibility on me. I feel it brings the best out of me, and that's how he works. So that makes me feel like, okay, I am in charge and I will do it. And then he very nicely maneuvers you in the direction, okay, this is working, okay, this is not working, let's do something else. So I think now it's become like an autopilot for us. It almost felt like after Mulk there was a small schedule break and you're back on set with him.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed between the way we worked together. It was the same kind of, his humor is the same. His only the length of his beard or hair has changed a little, maybe. That's about it, nothing else. So yeah.
Lovely. That's lovely. And you said something that got me thinking about Anubhav. And I wanted to ask Anubhav, what was that turning point like, Anubhav, for you? Because Taapsee seemed to indicate that when she read the script of Molk, she was surprised because those were not the genre of films that you had made in the past.
That question, which you've only been asked 1,456 times, that
Exactly.
What really happened?
So what really made you? Why did you suddenly become socially responsible? I guess that's the question, or is it something that all of us have in us at some point in our lives? We feel, hey, we have the power to.
I have no clue. I know of this transformation, whatever you may want to call it, in hindsight.
Okay.
When I was doing, the only thing different when I was doing Mulk was the fact that I was too driven to make it.
Okay.
And the entire process of making it and the entire experience of people identifying with it and liking it changed me. Actually, things changed. Mulk happened on its own, very organically. But I tasted conviction with that film.
Amazing.
And I figured that, everything about the film has to be about your conviction, and that is so much joy. And that is something that I got hooked onto.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll add a little bit on. When I met him, he had already, Ravan was already out, and I've been audience to most of his films that he had done, Das, Ravan, Tumbin, all of that. And then when I met him and interacted with him for a couple of times, and I did not, I thought, okay, maybe this person talks like this, but he makes movies like that. Because it's really interesting to hear him speak about a lot of topics of social, political interests or whatever, related to the country especially. So when he gave me the script, I was not surprised that it's coming from him, in the sense that because the kind of conversations and the kind of stuff that he speaks and the interactions that we have, it is understood. But then it was difficult to see that this person who's been making all that is finally making this, which is truly himself, because this is exactly how he speaks. And the kind of one-liners he throws in his real life are actually in sync with the kind of dialogues that he writes. So this is the person who I met, but he was making those kind of films before, which ended up looking like an oxymoron.
Yeah. I can see that. So it's really his true self now coming through his films, I guess. Question for you, Taapsee. What was two questions? What was the most difficult scene for you? And the other question was the slap. Did it hurt?
When you get hit once, maybe it doesn't. When you get hit twice, maybe it still doesn't. But when you get hit 7 times, yes, it does hurt a little bit. Yeah, Pavel, you can shut your ears. You can leave the room also.
Were you gentle on that slap? Was it like, oh, and then a slight touch, or was it really a slap?
No, I think you should ask Pavel that question. No, it was supposed to be a slap. It was because the entire movie, sir, I found it very funny and weird when sir one day just called me and said, I just wanted to tell you that slap is going to happen for real. And I was like, I was thinking that, what is he trying to say? Because in my head, obviously it's going to happen for real. That's what we are making the movie on. So it was, I was like, what is he trying to exactly say? So yeah, but he's like, it will really happen. So I'm just letting you know, it's not going to be a overlap or anything. I said, yeah, sir, that's okay. Yeah, it's going to happen. So I didn't have it in my mind in any other way as well, that it's going to be a fake thing or whatever. And then we went, but yes, obviously we didn't know how it's going to happen, in terms of, because it should not look like it shouldn't be anticipated in any way, either for the actors or for the audience. So that was probably the only scene we did a lot of rehearsal in terms of, how we're going to stage the drama before the slap. So yeah, all that, so that it doesn't like look like, audience shouldn't be like, okay, we know when it's going to happen. It should just come out of nowhere. So when that has to happen, Pavel being so stressed about it since the time he came on set was like shooting bricks, probably thinking about that this day. And I was like, just do it, because if you're going to do it properly once, we're going to get done with it. So this guy, I think he was literally shaking. So he had to turn and slap me. So he was not even looking at me when he was slapping me. He was just so scared, or I don't know, just wanted to get done with it. So he was hitting me without looking at me. That's why the slap was going all over the place and not really getting hit like at the sweet spot it's supposed to hit. So then we ended up like figuring out after a couple of mistakes, okay, how we gonna do it so that it hits the sweet spot and it really conveys what we wanted to say. After that, there's one take that happened where I felt it really well that there's been a slap, and then it sounded also like a slap, but apparently it didn't come across in the camera like a very hard hitting slap. He was like, and then sir was like, after the take, I thought, okay, it's been good enough. I looked at Anubhav sir and he was not sure, and he was like, I know I heard it. It sounded like a perfect slap, but I don't think it's coming across in the camera, because in the camera it's looking like a very small little push. So then I was like, okay, once more. Once more. So then we went on for like we took a lot of variety of slaps that could happen possibly in that situation. So yeah, it was quite a day. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I knew what I'm making the film for. It physically probably hurts you for a bit, but not really for long. Yeah, I mean, I think Pavel was tortured more than I was with that slap.
Yeah.
And what was the other question that you asked me? Sorry, I forgot the first one.
No, I was just thinking, there were so many.
Which was a difficult scene? You asked me about that.
I thought would have been really difficult. But so I want to ask you, what challenged you the most, or what was the most challenging scene for you? It seems like a generic question, but in this film, I just feel, the emotions that you brought out were so real and so poignant and so touching, and I'm sure there were some.
I never felt one scene more challenging than the other, because I don't know, I actually didn't feel the challenging or difficulty part of it. I can tell you the scene I was most looking forward to. I was looking forward to performing that puja scene the most, because when I read the script, that really shook me hard and it brought tears in my eyes even when I was reading it for the first time. And I knew that this is going to hit home with everyone who's going to hear it if conveyed properly, because those are those unsaid things said in the most non-philosophical way, non-preachy way, in a very heart-to-heart conversation way, which was very rare. So I was really waiting for that, like how I was waiting for the summation sequence in Mulk. I was waiting for that puja sequence, because I kept telling everyone, this is the climax of the film. For me, this is the climax of the film. It should hit home, and that was one scene I was really looking forward to performing in this film.
Yeah, and your mother too in the film played her role so well. Really enjoyed watching her role as well. So I want to ask Vikram, which is Pavail, a few questions. So Pavail Gulati is here with us. He played Vikram in Thappad. He has acted in several films. Ghost Stories is the latest film, and then in the series Made in Heaven. Now, while the story really revolves around Amrita and her ability to stand up to what happened to her, I think his role made most Indian men, I guess, really look at themselves or look into the mirror at themselves and say, hey, I mean, this guy is probably just like me. A very, very layered character that you played out there, Vikram. We really hated you in it. And then we also strangely, began to like you too, in some sense, especially towards the end, which I think Anubhav did very skillfully. Um, but you also gave us a view into what it is that most women, and it's not just Indian women, it's women around the world, kind of deal with on a day-to-day without even thinking about it. There are subtle messages, there are these subtle influences, but people don't tend to dwell on it. So my first question to you was, well, you played this role opposite a very powerful actor like Taapsee. Was it intimidating? Number one. So you can answer that, and then I'll go to my next question.
Hi. So, thank you for all the kind words. I mean, this is really beautiful what you said. Taapsee, I actually got along in the first 20 minutes of meeting her. I think I didn't know her from before, but since she's from Delhi and I'm from Delhi, I think we had just had a connection immediately after we met for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Taapsee is intimidating off screen, not on screen probably. On screen, she's a very, very giving actor.
Please keep saying that and telling this to everyone. Okay, I want to stay intimidating off screen.
So she's on screen. She's quite a giving actor. She's not selfish and stuff as an actor, which is a great person to have have around you. She can be intimidating and very intimidating off screen, which is troublesome sometimes because she's brutally honest. And her honesty is to a fault, and it can really hurt people and break them completely when she's so honest. So I think I'm intimidated by her, like on a personal level, not on a professional level.
Lovely. So tell me, how difficult was it for you to get into the shoes of Vikram and the things and the way he had to behave?
I was actually kind of thrown into it because I didn't have much time. I had read the script only twice before I started shooting, and that time also I was shooting for something else. So as Sir said that I was the last one to join. 1 second, my cat is shouting like a mad person. Anyways, like I was just thrown into it, and I remember talking to Sir for the first 2 days. After the second day, my first day and my second day, I think in the night I just spoke to him. I said, "Sir, I don't know if I'm prepped enough, to play this part because I'm feeling a little awkward coming into it. I haven't known such people who do all of this." So Sir gave me this line, which was quite beautiful. He said, "Every man has prepped for this role all their lives. Just look into it and you'll find something that you've done." And I really like that. And I was basically, my prep was just picking Anubhav Sir's and Taapsee's brain all the time. I was looking for stories from Taapsee. I was looking for stories from Anubhav Sir, his experiences. And it was just, my prep was happening while I was, I would do a take and then come back and sit with both of them. And we would just discuss something which happened in their lives and stuff. So I think my prep mostly happened while I was shooting for it and listening to their stories. So I didn't have much time to prep for it, to be honest.
And did you have a challenging scene did you come to a place where you felt, hey, this scene is absolutely challenging? How do I do this? I mean, what was it? If there was one scene that you would pick?
For me, I think it was my climax scene. As Taapsee says, it was her climax. I had a climax scene in the end because I was just dying to do that scene. I couldn't wait for that scene to happen because all that while
he was dying to redeem himself. He was like, I can't let people hate me when they walk out of the theater.
All this time
annoyed the shit out of me by saying, till people hate me if they come out of the theater. I was like, if they tell this one time, मैं चप्पल उतार के I will start hitting. Ask me again one more time this question.
No, because I had said such horrible things and such I mean, I was creeping myself out and the things I had done in the film. So I just wanted one moment to myself so I can redeem myself as Vikram. I can say, I was dying to say sorry, to be honest. So I think that scene was difficult. I had put myself into so much pressure that if this scene doesn't work, my character doesn't work. If this scene doesn't work, my character doesn't work. That I had thought about it so much. I remember I was messaging Taapsee and said, listen, I can't sleep. And she was like, just calm down, you'll be okay in the morning, because we had to shoot the scene the next morning. And I was really nervous doing that scene and we had to actually take a break in the middle because I was getting so, my nerves were getting so much into me because I thought that scene is going to, make or break the character that I have. So I think that was a difficult scene for me to, because I had put in a lot of pressure on it. I think that's the only reason. Otherwise, because it was written so beautifully that even if I would have just thrown away those lines, that scene really worked.
How many takes did that scene take?
We had to take a lunch break in the middle because of my goof ups. Yeah.
Okay, and the slap itself, was that? Have you done that before? Slap someone?
No, I've had fights in school and stuff, but again, Taapsee and I, actually the thing was, Taapsee and I became friends, right? After we met on set. And now I kind of like this girl, and now it's not easy to hit anyone, especially a person that you like. And yeah, so it was just, and I was telling Taapsee to hit me first. I was asking her, can you just hit me first so that, then kaam bara ek pura ho jayega, matlab one all. So if you hit me, then I can hit you back. I've got the permission, right?
Yeah.
So, but she didn't do that. She didn't make my life easy for sure.
Wait, Taapsee,
I am intimidating, you know that, right?
So Taapsee, did you oblige and say, okay, I'll hit you so you can just react?
Of course not. I wanted to make things difficult for him. Why will I make it easy? No, I'm strictly against any of this hitting business. In fact, no matter the fact that people like to see me in so-called action roles in real life, if I see any sort of violence happening around me, I'm the first one to run away from there. Because I just don't like the idea of violence in any relationship. So yeah, obviously I was not going to do that. But I had full faith in him that one man in him somewhere will make this happen.
So I want to hand over some of these questions to the audience, but I want to make a comment about what Pavail just said. He said, I was just waiting to say sorry till the end of the film. And, but although you didn't say, I don't think you really said, I'm sorry, did you? But you said, let's be friends.
No, I said,
he said sorry.
You did.
Sorry.
And then you said, be friends. I think that was such a moving scene because it made us all understand, at the end of it, we're all human beings. And, there is that connection. I want to turn over questions to my audience, and I'm going to ask Amitabh to help me pick out the first question that was asked. Amitabh, if you don't mind. If he's there, maybe he's not.
I'm here. I think this one is from Kashmira, and it's for Anubhav. Why didn't you let Vikram say sorry in a more apologetic manner in the movie?
Well, I think he did. Did he not? We just.
He did, but I think what she means is that why didn't he say sorry before?
Yeah.
We did consider that, and I think the movie was about the fact that you can't hit her even once. So let's say he did say sorry to her.
Yeah.
And this is how me and Mrunmayee thought. Let's say he said sorry to her, and she would say, "Okay, I'll try and deal with it." And maybe 2 days later, 5, I think the relationship will change forever after that. And there is no way she was going to go past that act. Mm-hmm. And it was going to go around it and come back to the same point where she would want to leave. So that's a movie that I was making. But yes, him saying sorry and then both of them trying to deal with it would be another movie, which was not the movie that I was trying to make.
Good, a good answer. Folks, we have another question here from Anu Mitra. Anu Mitra, if you're there, would you please ask your question?
Hi, Anu.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much. And it was a fantastic movie. Really, really enjoyed it. So I think, this movie, even though Anubhavji, you said that this movie was about nothing, this movie is about everything. Because it is all about justice, isn't it? The injustice of having been slapped for no reason in a public setting as a woman just shows that, this deep, basically the injustice, the unjustness of the situation, which is what is happening in the United States with racial violence, with climate injustice, with the pandemic. So the theme of injustice was very, very well portrayed at so many levels. And in case we missed it, the relationships were repeated again and again. For instance, the relationship of Amrita and Vikram versus the relationship of Amrita's parents, versus the lady next door who had lost her husband, versus the in-laws. So there were a lot of different relationships on this spectrum that was explored. That was sort of, the relationships, what I'm trying to say is that some of them were based in faith and trust, and others were based in this lack of faith and lack of trust in the other. And I think, Vikram's being unconvinced about having self-transformed. He was unsure at the end. He said sorry, and he was not sure that he had changed, even though he said he had. This sense of being unconvinced about this big thing in front of us, about justice, whatever that means in the realm of gender equality and, respect and all of that for women, women's empowerment. And thank you for not using that term. What were you thinking of when you presented these range of characters? The lawyer who was high-flowing, very accomplished, but completely her relationship was based on a house of cards, to someone like Amrita, who was very strong and, unmoving in her resolution. So talk to me about a little bit and about the range of characters who presented through their daily actions this big idea. And of course, Anubhavji, of course, I would love to hear from you, and also from Vikram and Amrita.
I was trying to deal with as many women as possible, as not necessarily characters, but as many, if we were to divide behaviors in sets, so as many sets as possible. As many classes as possible. And so thankfully, all those characters fell in place. The last one being Dia's character, where she's lost her husband, and there were several drafts where there's a man in her life that she's slowly getting attracted to, and that's how she was getting rounded off. But one day Mrunmayee said, why not a woman who doesn't need a man in her life to feel complete? And I thought, yeah, that's another possibility. And then we went in that direction, and it turned out beautiful. So it was just our desire to, because you don't hit upon such ideas, which I still maintain, which are not great ideas in the sense that how do you make a movie about a man hitting his wife? Just that much and nothing else. Mm-hmm. So that chance, that providence, and that opportunity, and then that courage to go ahead and do it, because everybody around me was saying, how would we make a movie about one slap? So then one wanted to make it as thick as possible, and it's quite serendipitous that these women just showed up in the script. they showed up with their men, which probably happened because of the way I must have felt about them. These women, I must have met one of these women in a train when I was going to my hostel. I must have met one of them in my neighborhood, and they must have stayed with me, and I must have lived with them for a period of time. And then, then they suddenly started demanding their space in this film, and you could put them together and make a great ensemble out of all those women that you have felt for.
Great.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say that Vikram's character in the end was appropriately unconvincing, in the sense that I felt that, of course, he was a jerk throughout the movie. Excuse me, Pavail, you're wonderful. The character was less than, attractive, let's put it that way, in terms of his actions. But even at the end, like I said, when he said that he had transformed, I didn't feel as a woman that he meant what he said. I needed to see through his actions. So it was very appropriate. And I applaud you for that, Anubhavji, because I think it's so easy to wrap things up at the end and make it like happy ever after for everyone and make it Hindi movie-ish, Bollywoodish. But to have that sense of indecisiveness was very appealing to me. And thank you for making it very nuanced in that way.
Thank you for your question, Anu. Can I ask Anita Ram? I think she has a question. Going through the list.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
First, hi. I would like to
Hi.
thank you for a very socially relevant movie. It was a very, very good in-depth analysis of all the relationships that you see. I mean, your parents, your siblings. And I think the actors did a fantastic job. They were very convincing. I couldn't believe Vikram's character. I mean, the actor who played him, Gulati, was a new actor. He was fantastic. And Taapsee, as usual, was great. And I just had one question about Taapsee's brother's character. So there was a little bit of aggression between him and his girlfriend in one scene. So I was just curious about how that worked out. They kind of got back together. And it was very nuanced, but I just wanted to know the thought behind that scene and what happened there.
He was like 5 years before Vikram. 5 years later, he would be Vikram.
Okay.
He was headed there. That was the idea.
Okay.
And he's that Vikram who realized that he was going to be Vikram.
Okay.
He could look at himself through his own brother-in-law, and he figured that he was making a mistake. And after a point, he said, "This is such a wonderful girl who's standing by my sister, something that I should be doing." And he said, "I don't deserve her. She deserves so much better than me." And he says, "Please leave me and please go. You deserve better."
Yeah.
And she loves the fact that this guy has realized it. I did not want to annihilate the institution of marriage or the institution of love. I wanted to keep it with hopes, with minor tweaks here and there.
Absolutely.
And, people should love. People should marry. People married in a bad marriage should figure that, oh, no, we need to tweak something. We need to sit down and talk, and we need to tweak it. But so yeah, that was the effort when we thought that maybe
some ray of hope, kind of.
Yeah, of course. That's the reason why even Vikram apologizes to her. You may or may not feel convinced about his apology, but you know that they're going to meet.
Yep.
And maybe something good will come out of it.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why one tried to, and even the house help. She didn't want to work. She just wanted to be a housewife.
Yep.
And you see her dance at the end because she achieved that. She said, "Okay, you will not get 4,000 rupees a month at home. We'll get 2,500, and we will make it work within that. And she's happy doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the answer. Yeah.
The next question is Dipali, but I don't see Dipali's face in there. Dipali, are you there?
Sorry, I'm here. Just let me turn off my.
So we can see.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm in my homely avatar here, so I didn't want to turn the video on. But anyways, I really loved the movie, and I really love Taapsee as an actor. She's been fantastic in all the movies that I've watched so far. Recently, I caught Badla also with AB, the great Amitabh Bachchan, and what a tucker she gave to him. So, so I really love all her roles that she picks up. And my question about this movie really is that I love the premise of the movie, and I know that Thappad was not just an ordinary Thappad. That Thappad kind of brought everything into her view that she had been ignoring and, you know, trying to go on with her life. But then the fact that a sense of, you know, this prevailed for me, that a certain sense of loss of that relationship. Was that Thappad enough to end that relationship when a transformation had happened in Vikram's character, that he had realized his mistake, that he was ready to make a new start? That is what kind of bothered me at the end. Was here Taapsee is, you know, she was very confident through it, and she did not make that decision in a haste. Know that she took her time thinking about it. She didn't just walk away from Thappad, but she stayed there. She thought about it. So that was so close to reality. That's how it is in real life. But at the end, I somehow felt why they just couldn't get back together. For the sake of the child, why couldn't she give her one more chance? And that is something that took away from the real life for me. But perhaps that is how it should be. I don't know, but that's how I felt. So can you please explain that, sir? Anubhav, sir, that's a question for you. And then Taapsee, would you comment on that?
How many chances would you want to give to him? Why one? Why not three?
Once you see that transformation in that character, I would want
transformation.
How did you
what
see?
Transformation? He just
said it. He said it.
He didn't.
There's no transformation.
Okay.
He was bad divorce petitions. He was trying to buy people off. And, you know, I hate to say this, but no. One is enough.
One is enough. Thank you for saying that.
And also one more thing, for how long will a woman keep saying, okay, for the sake of family, let me just do this. For the sake of husband, let me just do this. For the sake of the unborn child, let me just do this. That child might grow up and feel disgusted that the mother let this happen and still continue to stay in the marriage. Who are you to decide what child is going to eventually grow up and think? And that's going to be the teaching. He's going to see a husband, wife, or the mother, father who probably are not really happy in a marriage. Will that be right for that child? So let's just stop giving the excuse. I'm just saying it out because there were a lot of women who actually asked me this question, and I was amazed that being women, you are thinking that what will, for the sake of that child, but genuinely, do you really, if you're really thinking about that child, are you really thinking that what kind of parents will he be growing in between? Like what kind of a kid will he grow up to be if he's going to see an unhappy relationship in his house? You are deciding for the child even before he or she is born, and as a woman you're supposed to be always putting everyone else before you or whatever you feel is right. I think somewhere this needs to stop.
I completely agree with you, not for the sake of the child, but sake of the probably that love that existed between the couple. And
yeah, but she clearly said that the love doesn't exist anymore. She says that I don't love you.
And you know, Dipali, just read what's written across Anubhav's shirt. I think that's a good answer.
Okay. I will. Thank you so much. Just a different perspective, different view, I guess.
Of course.
What Pavail thinks about that too, because I loved what Anubhav said. you know, one is one too many. Pavail, what are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I missed the question. I think my connection just got lost. I just joined in again from my phone.
So
What was the question again?
Dipali's question was, you know, after your character had, you know, gone through this, what she thought was a transformation of sorts, wasn't it time then for Taapsee to, or for Amrita to now forgive him? She was going to have a child and, you know, for the sake of the relationship. And so the question is, why did the movie end differently? Wasn't it for Amrita to accept your character?
No, because I think it ended perfectly. Because you know, as long as I said I'm sorry, but again, if she really wants to forgive me, that's up to her, and I need to actually say it with my actions more than my words. You know, and I may have to kind of now. In the end, I actually tell her that I'm going to earn you. I mean, it just doesn't translate well in English when I say "Ab kamaunga tujhe." So you know that he needs to do that hard work. He needs to actually change and show. बोलने से कुछ नहीं होगा. बहुत सारी चीजें करनी भी पड़ेंगी for you to become that man. You know, you're not going to change overnight. Your thing, it's so deep rooted that you can't just change overnight. And the thing is that he understands that, and he wants to give her that time, and it's her choice whether to accept it or not accept it. And I think you shouldn't be in a relationship that you know where you've been disrespected once also. It's just not right. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, thank you for your views on it. I want to have Leena Gandhi ask her next question to all of you. Leena, if you're there, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. So, guys, I'm going to focus on the message of the movie. I think a lot has been said about movie making and the story and the way it's conveyed. I think it's exceptional, Anubhav, and we loved it. But from the messaging, I believe that this behavior has gone on, you know, for eons. And I don't think the man is going to change for several reasons. Because of the way we raise our kids, and you know, this behavior has been normalized for centuries. So it's the woman that has to change, and that's what you show in the movie. But my question to you is, did you get any responses from victims of domestic violence as to how they felt about the movie? Because the solution, or what Amrita does in the movie, is not open to a lot of people. Most families don't accept women that want to walk away from their marriages, especially the middle class and low middle class. So they have very few options. So as a result, they stay in an abusive relationship, right? So I think we need to educate our daughters, our sisters, and make them financially independent. And that's the only solution, in my opinion, that will stop this. It's the woman has to bring about the change in this kind of, for any abuse, sexual, physical, domestic, whatever you call it. The woman is the only one that can bring about it. And it is happening in small ways. But there are limitations, because women enter in arranged marriages where they have no idea what they're getting into until it's too late. So anyway, I just wondered if you had heard anything from possible victims of domestic violence.
So I have a slightly different standpoint from what you just said. I don't think there's more work to be done with our sons than our daughters.
Thank you.
So, you know, I remember my son was 3 or 4, and his girlfriend, you know, walking. I remember that moment, walking into an elevator, and I said, "Hello, no, let her go in first. You go next." And all the parents shouted at me, "Hello, we can teach him chivalry a little later also." And he's just 4.5. So, and the fact that I thought of this film, and being a man, that must have come from my father and my mother, and the way they taught me about treating women. So I think there's more work to be done with men than with women, because women have only been submissive and they've only been reacting to what happens to them. And that's how they are trained to deal with it, depending on how your man treats you.
Agreed. And you know what? I love all the men of the world that are like you, but they are so few and far between. And that's why I say that the women are the one that can fight this and bring about a change for themselves, because it's not happening enough on the other side.
To answer the second half of your question, I remember Taapsee forwarding me a message of a lady who, even before the movie released, the trailer had just come out, and Taapsee forwarded this long message to me from a woman who was going through a bad marriage, and she was wondering what to do. And she saw the trailer and she said, "I'm done. I've decided what I have to do." And Taapsee said, "Sir, we have a problem. This is what the movie is doing. The trailer is doing." And obviously, after the movie released, we had the movie premiere in 6 screens. And there was this beautiful, huge lobby that I was in, and I was walking up and down. They had all staggered starts of the movie. So screen number 4 had its intermission first, and 5 had its intermission later. I was going, meeting people. When the movie got over, I see this friend of mine who just is walking towards me. He's from the film industry, and I'm hoping to hear from him. And he gives me half a hug as he wants to leave. And I'm like, "Hello, I thought maybe he didn't like the film." And I said, "Hello, what happened?" And he said, no, I got to go home. I need to say sorry to her about something. And he left.
Oh my God.
So the movie did that to a man. I once received a phone call from a movie director who I haven't known at all. And he called me and he broke down like a baby. From his shoot, he was shooting. He called me from his shoot. He saw the movie in a break and he broke down like a child. And he said, "Man, thank you for making..." And I did not have the heart to ask him why he was crying. And, we were at a screening in Delhi where Taapsee and I were on stage. And there was this guy who stood up and he said he was probably a critic or somebody. And he said, "I will write a lot about this film. But Mr. Sinha, why didn't you make this movie 25 years ago? My mother would have been a happier person." And he broke down in front of those 600 people in the theater. So I think I'm happy that the film did a lot to men more than what it did to women.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
While I'm with you on the fact that not too many men are like that, it will take time. It's not going to happen this Thursday. But as long as it begins, as long as you decide to start, because when you have a son, you don't find it necessary to tell him that hello, you need to behave, because you're always busy teaching your daughter how to react to the situation.
Correct.
I truly believe it's got to be with men. The onus lies with men.
Until the proportion of men change, women are going to keep suffering. That's why I say the women have to change, and they have to fight,
changing.
And they have to walk
changing.
away, and they have to equip themselves and make themselves financially independent. Because what is it that keeps women in these marriages? They're helpless. So get out of that situation. If you're not helpless, then you can walk away from something. I walked away from a marriage myself because I could, with my head high. And I would do it in a heartbeat again. And not because there was an abuse, but it just didn't work. That's a separate thing. But I'm just saying, a woman has to become financially independent, and then she has options.
That too, yes, I agree with you.
I cannot argue with that. I do. Some of us are so fortunate to have been in such great marriages and not have the experiences that Taapsee in her character had to go through. And I know a lot of us women have asked questions, and I'm going to take this next question from a guy. So Vikas would like to ask a question. Vikas, please go ahead.
Hi. So this is not a question. My wife and I, we have 3 sons, and she tells them all the time, you know, be nice to ladies. You know, she's taught them that they have to be nice, they cannot be abusive, etc. She's really told them that, and I think shiksha is also necessary for your boys, not just girls.
Yes, I agree with you.
Absolutely. I was fortunate to have 3 daughters, and some of them are on Zoom. I think a couple of them on Zoom. And one of my daughters is actually a producer in Hollywood. And I think this is a movie that, here's Menaka. And I think this is
I'm here too.
I can't see you, Adrusha. This is a film that needs to be made in Hollywood, I think, because it applies to us in America just as much as it applies to India. It's not an Indian thing. It is a gender thing that's happening around the world. You might want to respond to that if you wish, Adrusha.
You can't see me because it was 8 a.m. when it started here in Los Angeles. It's 8 a.m. on a Sunday after a whole week of riots. And so, sorry guys, I was not turning on my video this morning. I needed some time off. Okay. But yeah, I think it's spousal abuse in the United States as well as internationally is an enormous topic, right? So it's relevant to all cultures. It's one of the like hidden debates globally. So I think it's very timely, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And I have a question. I think Menaka says she has a question. Menaka, would you like to ask a question?
Hi.
Am I right? Yeah.
So I found the movie really powerful, and I really enjoyed it. My question is, generally speaking, do you think a director or writer has to really prove themselves in the box office before kind of dealing with such a challenging social topic, specifically in Bollywood? And then also specifically, as an established director, did you have any nerves or fears beforehand about speaking on such a sensitive culture dynamic in India?
So I don't think there's a definite mathematical answer to your first question. You know, there have been instances in the past where the first movie of a director is absolutely against the tide, unprecedented, and he has been able to make it, and he has been able to taste success with it. And there have been instances where successful people tried to do a film which were sort of unusual in nature, and they couldn't make it work. So it's I don't think it has subjective answer. What was the second question?
Second question was, as an established director like yourself, did you have any nerves or fears about speaking on such a sensitive culture dynamic in India?
No, I'm actually from bordering on Bihar and from UP, and we don't have too much up here. We just do it. And that's the best way to do it, I think. You just do it because, there's no way you can ever calculate what all is going to entail. So, you just go with your gut and do it with all honesty, so that at least people know, whether it's a film related to caste politics or religion politics, the intention of the director or the storyteller has no malice. You may agree with it, you may disagree with it. As long as it's not being done with malice, there's no reason to worry.
Anubhavji, I love your Queen's College answer. But what about birthday plans? It's coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, nothing. We'll be at home. I'm not stepping out.
Yeah. I wonder.
And why are Americans calling me G? I understand these brown Indians calling me G and all.
Correct.
But मैं बनारस से हूँ, sir. बनारस से.
By the way,
अच्छा, बनारस से हैं. कैसन हुआ?
Chauchak.
Chauchak. Jia Raja Banaras. Sorry, sorry about this bad behavior.
Menika, did that answer your question, or did you have another question for Taapsee? I'm sorry.
No, that answered my question. I just appreciated his answer, and I agree. And I think your powerful message came through, so it was paid off.
Thank you, Menika.
Thank you for that question, Menika. Menika is my daughter as well, and it's nice to see the next generation watching these films and appreciating them. Amitabh, do you have another question or a question taker?
No, I think Rita is next.
Say something, and then we can wrap up after.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to comment that for me personally, the movie's power was embedded in the fact that that the onus was put on the man. I mean, for how long can women tolerate this kind of behavior? Why should they be the ones to initiate that change? I think the character's strength came from the fact that she stood steadfast with her, that if you disrespected me once, that's it. I mean, and when if the characters had come together at the end, for me, I mean, the movie would have completely lost its impact. I mean, I think that's what's crucial to me as a watcher of the movie, that stays steadfast. And this is an ordinary girl who's not necessarily associated with, as you said, the way she was portrayed. And I think we miss the strength that lies with what we call seemingly ordinary people. They are the strength. And the strength has to come from them. And I think I like that part of the movie, that she was not portrayed as this, very career-oriented woman, but your regular girl next door, and who you would not think would have the strength, and she would be appeased and come back once he says sorry. But she shows strength of character by saying, no, you didn't respect me, and I'm going to stay with it. So for me, I think that really was the powerhouse of the movie. The way the character was created, and also the nuances, no melodrama, no histrionics, like flaring and in and out. It was the subtle nuances that came together to really make a powerful movie. So thank you.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Thank you so much for your question, Rita. I'm going to try to wrap up now, because I know we've extended our meeting a little longer, and I'm sure our guests, it's late for them. It's already past 10 o'clock. I want to say a huge, big thank you. Pavail, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was lovely talking to you and getting to know the real you as well. And Taapsee, such a pleasure. I love your buoyancy. I love that, you're such a strong woman, and you're really, beating all those guys there.
Thank you so much.
As well. Thank you so much for being with us and taking the time out to be with us. And thank you, Anubhav. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Wonderful being here.
To bring your whole cast. And I hope we asked you questions that you're not always asked 100 million times. I'm sure there were one or two there, but it was a wonderful experience for us to get behind the psyche of these characters, to get behind, the story behind the story, and listen to you. We do this each week on Sundays. We hang out with the creatives. Please join us and on other Sundays as well. Same Zoom ID always. And I would love if you could scroll through the chat, come to my email, IFFCincy@gmail.com, and send me your email so I can send you thank you notes as well, and some information about us. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You have a good day, and keep protesting against whatever happened in Minneapolis.
Yes, this is the time to protest.
Keep protesting. Yes, keep protesting.
Black Lives Matter, and I think that should be our next film.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Pavail. Bye. Bye. I didn't get a chance to thank everybody else for being there. Shilpa, I see everyone going away now. Shaila is there, and Vikas. Thank you guys for being with me today. Everyone in the audience, but I think didn't get quite a chance to do it because we had over 35 people at the time, and it was really difficult to do that.
Thank you for organizing it. That was lovely.
Thank you. Feedback and thoughts.
Good job. Went really well today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Amit and Vikas and everyone else, I think I'll do this through the end of June and then stop.
Yeah.
Because it does take up quite a bit of time and energy, efforts, all of that connecting with people. But I think more people are intrigued by the Bollywood stars than in and so maybe we need to try Bollywood films in maybe stars. What do you think? Vikas, I'm looking at you. What are your thoughts? Oh, he's not.
He's muted. He's muted.
Oh, here's Anita as well. Hey, yeah. Give me your thoughts, guys, and what we should do going forward.
Well,
we could keep a balance, right? Yeah, sorry.
I love all these discussions we have. Watching a movie is one thing, but discussing the details is nice. I mean, it's good to talk about it, and it's wonderful to meet the producers and the actors and seeing their thoughts. I mean, I just love it. It's really nice. Thanks.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I think, we are lucky to get some of these folks because they are in lockdown. I mean, can you imagine if we didn't have the lockdown, it'd be so difficult to get Bollywood stars because they're all so busy at the time that we want them, So I think at the end of June, with things opening up in India, probably be a good time for us to stop as well. Your thoughts? Anita, you didn't ask a question today. I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Okay, I did send a question, but there's a long thread of like 38 or 40 messages. So it got eaten up in that.
But Amitabh should have just jumped in with the question.
He just walked by and said, "Oh, you've sent a question and I didn't get it." I said, "Okay, fine."
I didn't see it. I was just thinking when I saw you, hey, you didn't ask a question.
No, I did. I asked a question that somebody asked me, and they said, I mean, she just opted out of the marriage. Why didn't she go for professional counseling? Oh. So I was going to ask his insight on that, because in India, it's still a stigma on this counseling thing, no? So yeah. I did ask a question, but it never got through, but that's fine.
But I guess, if that person thinks about it, you kind of are losing what it is about. Because again, she is making the effort of going in for counseling. So you kind of have lost the whole impact of what this is about.
Go for counseling rather, yeah. No, I agree with you, Shilpa. I agree with you on that, yeah. This is good, I'm glad, and it's small. I wore the same shirt I wore last night because I thought it looked bright against this background.
That's true, it did.
That's why I wore the same shirt.
But Rati, as far as doing it after June, just see how you feel, you're still getting 30, and today you got more, but you're getting 25, 30 people every time. So if you feel up to it, fine, and if you don't want to, then you're good.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, and it's just, and I still have the festival to organize and plan.
Right.
We need to have a meeting on it. I want you guys join our team, guys, and so we can work on some things together. I'll call a meeting soon. I'm looking at Shilpa, Vikas.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I'll help you, Rati. Really, I've not really been involved. This is the first meeting I've attended. Yesterday didn't happen as much as I wanted it to. I forgot about Killa. I watched the movie and I forgot about the meeting. So,
So
no, I really would help you with this. Would
I,
be
I I would love to help because I'm unemployed and have all the time in the world.
Ooh,
Every day is a Sunday for me.
lovely, lovely. Let's do it because I do need. I am looking at films for the next film festival, and I still have some selections to make. And then I'm in the process of now writing to those folks and saying, do you mind if we do it as an online festival? I'm sure some of the films you've selected will drop out because a lot of people are not interested in the online. They're afraid of piracy and so on. But I do think having a festival in the theaters this year is going to be so hard.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's where I am right now. But then the weekly thing is taking up so much time, and my family's here as well. So I'm having, spending some time with them, and the weekly stuff is taking up a lot of my time. So that's where I am. So if some of you want to view a couple of the films and judge them and tell me, hey, we like this, we don't like this, don't show this, I would benefit greatly from it too, because that's it's a time-consuming operation. All the films to do justice. I just I like to do justice to the filmmakers, so I like to look through the submissions and make certain. And this year, I think I have about 140 submissions so far that I've gleaned from the larger set of submissions. And now I need to make that. I need to pick 10 films. So I think we picked about 7 so far. I need to pick about 3 or 4 more. So that would help greatly. Yeah. So let's try and do that. So I'm glad to pick up 2 volunteers today.
Anytime.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you for doing this. I can't even
I've got
imagine
international
how
call
you
coming.
getting this organized. But thank you very much for doing it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rati.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Have a nice Sunday. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Yeah, thank you. I can't hear you, Anita. Your audio is off. I think
I said sorry, I missed that Shalom Bollywood yesterday. In fact, I'd watched it, but then something happened yesterday and I couldn't come. Yeah.
Very interesting session. It taught me something.
Is it? Okay.
It did not come on for a long time.
Okay.
Basically, I didn't know what happened to the director. So first we waited 10 minutes because 2 of the cast members were there. Director was not there. Then the third cast member came on. I mean, we just started the interview.
Okay.
Towards
It was
the
very
end,
interesting. Yeah, I watched it, but then I just got the news yesterday. My cousin passed away, so it was a strange day. Yeah, so that's the reason I was in a very different frame of mind and I didn't join. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Give a shout out to my friend Shaila from Bangalore. Hi, Shaila. Thank you for watching with us. I can't hear you because you don't have your audio on.
Yeah. Yeah, what is the are you planning to do it next weekend? You have a selection?
Yeah, I have a selection for next weekend. It's The Boy with the Top Knot.
Okay.
It's The Boy with the Top Knot.
I feel, have I seen it? Okay.
One of our film from the festival. It's from the festival.
Oh, I think I watched it. Did it have Deepthi Naval in it?
Yeah, Deepthi Naval and
okay.
Yeah.
You should ask her to join.
Yeah, I haven't been able to really get in touch with her yet, but now that's when I just have to ask the director to see if she can get both of them in.
She's a very interesting person. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, would love to have her on. Yeah. So I'll send a note now to the director and say, hey,
okay.
Bring Deepthi on. Sometimes it's difficult to get the Bollywood stars. I'm so glad that this lady came on. I mean, she's huge,
Yeah, she's quite a big star. Yeah, she was quite simple and very nice. Yeah.
Very sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll work on that.
Okay.
If anyone has the Deepthi Naval or Anupam Kher, let me know. But I will push on the director too. But I think she had got the main actor on. She talked about the author of the book, but I really wanted to get the other two stars. I'll ask her again.
Okay.
That's our movie for the next week.
Okay. Sure. I have to go now. So thanks.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Cut short, cut short.